Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome back to another exciting video. Before we dive into today's topic, I would like to invite you to press the subscribe button and click on the follow button. Join me on this fascinating journey of discovery into our destinies. To those who are new to my subscriber community and followers, it's a pleasure to welcome you into my tribe and larger family. I'm grateful for your return, and thank you for choosing my media resource and finding meaning in the words I share. I value your time, and if you resonate with the content I present, how about informing the YouTube community by simply clicking that like button? It offers our tribe and family here the best chance to flourish. Today, our discussion will revolve around the subject of the narcissist and the fact that now you have gone away, the suffering most certainly begins. Now that you've gone away, the suffering commences. So, shall we dive into it? The act of discarding has occurred. It doesn't matter who initiated the discard, you or the narcissist, because the undeniable truth is that you have exited the stage. Most likely, as I mentioned in a previous video, you have seized control of the generator, taken possession, and left the scene fast as lightning. So now that you've gone away, let's shed light on the situation with the rather amusing character you left behind to fend for themselves. All right, where to begin? The suffering is about to commence, and this is how it's going to unfold. Those of you tuning into this video who have experienced this have probably been informed by the so-called flying monkeys and others who may still be associated with the narcissist. This is how the suffering began. Those closely associated with the narcissist have seen this scenario unfold multiple times. However, they will never disclose this to you, especially the family. They will never reveal the truth of what really happened. They will never confess to you that they have encountered a multitude of individuals just like you before, and the same scenario has played out every single time. They simply won't disclose this information to you. Hence, the narcissist has their work cut out for them. The smear campaign had already been initiated even before the process of discarding took place. Now that you've effectively seized control of the generator and have gone away, the narcissist has turned their attention to their family. Assuming it's a female narcissist, I will attempt to emulate her voice primarily because I am a woman, and I'm endeavoring to voice what the narcissist probably said. Speaking from a female perspective, she'd assert, "I warned you right from the outset that she was unstable. I told you about her constant attempts to control me, how she wanted to have the final say in everything. She didn't want me to socialize with my friends, didn't want me to hang out with my boys. I mean, they're my childhood friends. We've been inseparable since our younger days. She'd always try to control who I'm in touch with and what I'm up to. I'm a grown woman." To the men out there, you can relate this to your own experiences. These are probably some of the comments that the female narcissist has made or would make to her family as well. And he didn't want me to spend time with any of my girlfriends. He'd always suspect that I'm up to something, seeing someone, doing something behind his back. He wanted too much control. This is the narrative they're spinning to the flying monkeys. This is what they're feeding to their brigade, to anyone who's willing to listen. This is their version of the story. All right, every individual who is willing to lend a listening ear to this clown, this comical character wearing a 10 crown, as one of our tribe members humorously put it. I must admit, I couldn't help but laugh at that. But moving on, this is the narrative they're spinning. This is where the suffering begins. But let's not forget, they've been through this cycle multiple times. Thus, they become seasoned professionals at executing their strategy. By the time they initiated the smear campaign against you, they had already begun even before the relationship had officially ended. But they are highly tactical about who they smear your name to. All right, they carefully select their targets because they know that once the discard occurs, they need to have those individuals to whom they strategically smeared your name. These are the same people who were highly opinionated and vocal during your relationship. If you reflect on it, these individuals were essentially your detractors. My dear, they never had a liking for you right from the get-go, and you were aware of this due to the initial manner in which they treated you at first. They might have appeared welcoming and complimented you with remarks like, "Oh, she's nice, she's this, she's that." But as the relationship, or as I prefer to call it, the addictionship with the narcissist began to unravel, and you started to notice things that just didn't add up. They turned to those individuals who were quite vocal in their opinions, those who'd say, "Oh, she's such a beautiful girl. Oh, she's educated. She's this, she's that." The same applies to the men. You can simply flip the scenario and apply it to your situation, my kings. So, they approached these individuals and planted seeds of doubt, systematically tearing down your character. Even before the discard occurred, their perception of you had been tainted. If you invited them somewhere, they'd come up with excuses such as, "Oh no, we have other plans, we can't make it that day, we're busy with this and that." But the reality of the situation was that they were simply participating in the smear campaign. They weren't particularly busy, they just didn't want to associate with you. They avoided you because the narcissist had been feeding them a series of lies and telling them exactly what they wanted to hear. Always remember, a narcissist is strategic in every move they make. Now let's return to the topic of suffering. Yes, they had already begun to strategically smear your name even before the discard took place. Once the discard occurred, boom! They had to intensify their smear campaign quickly and abruptly. Let me explain what transpired next. They reconnected with those individuals to whom they initially started smearing your name. Possibly a sibling, maybe the mother, or anyone else within their circle who was gullible enough to believe whatever they had to say. This could include anyone within their brigade, their close friends, regardless of gender. Essentially, anyone who was willing to lend a listening ear to their tales, that's their target audience. They knew exactly who to approach, because they had identified who would have an issue with you when they first introduced you to their family. Why? Because you're far too refined. You possess a great deal of wisdom, and you radiate a beautiful inner light that they despise. Regardless of what you might think, if there's one narcissist, there's inevitably a second one lurking somewhere. My dear, they simply do not like you. Okay? They never liked you from the start. They were well aware that there would be a beginning and an end to their relationship with you, and now the suffering begins. So who's going to provide them with gas money now? Yes, I said it. Who's going to prepare their meals? Who's going to ensure that the financial deficit left by the narcissist is covered since you are usually the one making up for their shortfalls? They never really contributed anything of substance to the table anyway, but you made excuses for them because you loved them. I know, I've been there, done that, and even got the t-shirt to prove it. So the narcissist turns to these detractors. They're going to complete their mission. But that's not all. The smear campaign continues. Who's going to supply them with gas money now? They have to turn to their new supply, their inferior new supply. Yes, I said it, and I meant it. The inferior new supply that can't provide them with even half of what you offered them. Here's why. The narcissist always harbors this belief in their mind that the grass is always greener on the other side. And as I've mentioned before, it's not until they turn that metaphorical grass over that they realize there's dirt on the other side, too. If only they had taken the time to nurture and care for the grass on their side. But the unfortunate truth is they don't even possess the capacity to do that. They lack this ability because by nature, and due to the nature of their disorder, they are selectively ignorant. Yes, I said it, and I stand by it. They lack the ability to reason logically, and when you encounter someone who lacks the ability to reason, that person is undoubtedly a fool, an absolute fool. So now you've exited the scene, you've seized control of the generator. My dear, you're gone. Now the narcissist has to turn to their brigade, their flying monkeys, who are now providing the gas money, preparing those meals. Now you're going to receive phone calls from these flying monkeys because they're going to start hoovering on behalf of the narcissist. They're going to initiate proxy hoovering. They'll say things like, "Oh, how are you doing?" You know, he or she told us about everything that transpired, and we just think you two probably need to have a conversation. Perhaps reconcile, because it's unfortunate to just let things end. The children are involved, and you might need a few days to think things over, then maybe try to work things out. A few days to decide what exactly? To return to that chaotic situation? I don't think so. To go back to what you left. At this point, you may be experiencing pain, intense pain, and feel as though you've lost a part of your soul. But let me tell you something. Here's what's happening now that you've moved on. The suffering begins. Because guess what? The new supply isn't fulfilling their needs because they simply can't provide what the narcissist needs. The new supply isn't able to do this because, you see, the moment you exited the scene, they lost their allure. They were an exciting diversion while you were still in the picture, while you were the primary source of supply, while you were catering to every single one of the narcissist's needs. Consequently, while you were hard at work providing for the household, they were out having a carefree time. More often than not, these individuals don't even hold a job, and if they do, it's a low-grade, mediocre position that wouldn't suffice to support an adult, let alone an entire household. Hence, you were shouldering all the responsibilities while they were gallivanting around betraying you while you were at work, and then returning home to smile in your face. But now, my dear, the suffering has set in because the brigade and all those flying monkeys have to compensate for the gap left by you. So yes, you will start receiving those phone calls, or perhaps you already have. Those calls suggesting that you both need to talk. And you know what? If you're watching this video and you receive that call, make it clear to them. Listen, I've reached a point where I'm not going to engage in any discussions with someone who, I know, didn't care about me. When you examine the situation, it becomes clear that they were never genuinely interested in you realizing that you were dealing with an absolute disaster, a literal demon, and they never said a word. Why should you listen to someone like that now? All they're trying to do is lighten their own burden and shift that monkey back onto your back. But no, thank you. You can keep that. I've regained control of my life, and I'm moving on. You can keep that chaos. Let them deal with it just as it was when you discovered it. Okay? Because now that you've moved on, the suffering has begun, and they're tired of the narcissist and are looking for someone else to burden with the narcissist. This is the reality of the situation. This is absolutely what's unfolding. So now they're forced to compensate because, you see, the new supply never had what you had, my dear. They never had your charm, your charisma. They couldn't handle things the way you did. In fact, the new supply was probably another narcissist just like them, either inverted or covert. I don't even refer to it as a new supply. It's more like a recycled pigeon. That's what they usually end up with. So, my dear, now that you've gone away, the suffering begins. Let them deal with that bird they have over there. Let them suffer with it because guess what? They didn't show any concern when you were suffering and complaining about all the questionable behavior exhibited by their family. They showed no concern. No, they were too busy rushing back to the narcissist, reporting every single word you said. So let them deal with the consequences of their actions. Now that you've moved on, stay gone. This is a strategy you already know. Elevate your frequency and vibe. Stay in tune with your intuition, your discernment. Crank it up to the max. As I always say, turn it all the way up. That's the only way you're going to stay free from these individuals. They don't have your best interest at heart. Remember that now that you've gone away, the suffering begins for them. Let them remain in that state of suffering with those flying monkeys and that new supply. It's over. Before we conclude this video, I want to remind you all to stay blessed and highly favored. I'll see you in the next video. But before you go, please remember to like this video if you found it helpful. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or experiences. And if you think this video could help someone else, don't hesitate to share it. Lastly, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest content. We appreciate your support and look forward to continuing to provide you with valuable content. Stay strong, everyone. Goodbye for now.